DailyAstrocat.com, the weekly astrology report.
On this week's Daily Astrocat Weekly Report, we talk about the Sun-Saturn opposition, Mars entering Libra, Uranus retrograde, and the full moon in Pisces.
Hey, this is a week of endings, and it points to an entirely new cycle that's going to begin when Venus goes direct when the moon is in Taurus next week. This highlights questions I have around the moon's nodes. The moon begins the week in Capricorn and ends the week in Aries. Hello, beautiful friends. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Lunar Weekly Astrocat Preview. It's not like I do this all the time, is it? It's time to concentrate and focus.
Intentions set are intentions well met.
Well, in all fairness, we didn't do this last week, so. I'm Shane Jensen. I'm an astrologer, and I like to interpret the daily influences of the moon on us and our environs against the backdrop of traditional Western astrology.
And I'm Carrie Jensen, a kitchen witch, voice of the cast of cat characters here, songstress, and neurospicy nerd for all things new age.
Oh, those cat characters are coming back, too.
Yes, they are. And to be fair, the intentions set are intentions well met. We've got some new ones in the pocket, so we're working on it. Sometimes time off will do that to you. So.
Constantly improving, okay?
Indeed.
So, since Mercury is retrograde in Virgo, let's start backwards. Oh, it seems like the topic I want to spend the most time with is just as illusory, yet as real as a planetary retrograde. Retrograde describes the motion of a planet is making in the sky with respect to the star field behind it. Planets don't move backwards.
Obviously.
That would be silly.
Yes.
It's the movement of the Earth in relation to those planets that makes it seem like those planets are moving backwards.
Yeah, it's all about our perception. With Uranus retrograde this week, every planet except Mars and Jupiter is going to be retrograde. That's pretty crazy, right? Jupiter goes retrograde the day after Venus is direct.
Well, you also have to remember that the sun and moon are never retrograde.
Right,
so that's
right.
all the other planets, but not the sun and moon. Okay, so that's cool, right? Retrogrades are times where we gather our strength and those re-words begin to apply, like the restore down the street, or review, or rework, or revise things that are associated with those various planets.
Uranus is retrograde this week on Monday at 10:39 p.m. You've been waiting for this one, haven't you?
Oh, indeed. It's been my observation that markets have performed better when Uranus is retrograde, especially crypto markets. I'm not sure if this is a thing since they haven't recovered their original value since I first started noticing this trend. Willie seems to agree, though. Right, Will? What do you think?
Willie's looking at the snakes on the floor.
Willie's
he just
saying,
gave me cat
I don't
eyes.
know about cat coins or anything like that. He says, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Serious, I think you're barking up the wrong tree, dude. All right, so anyway. All right, so look, not sure if this is a thing. When I first noticed the trend, I did notice that it did recover slightly, but they don't go. They do rise in value, generally speaking. Genuinely. Genuinely speaking. Look.
Just go with it, right?
Look, technology, inventions in progress, extreme weather. Look, that's bizarre associations with Uranus retrograde.
Yeah, they do throw all that crap in there.
Listen, keep your interpretations out of my forecasts, okay?
You should really stop cross-referencing your stuff with what other people write. You're kind of much more accurate in your assessments.
Hey, look, I thought that by honoring traditions, it would provide some insight as to what we are facing, okay?
Yeah, but sun sign or rising sign interpretations are exactly that. Besides, you have your own take on what the various archetypes represent and how they're personified. Although your desperate Pluto has gotten a bit beefier lately.
Well, listen. It's all comparative, I suppose. Good things in small packages, little disruptions that can have huge consequences.
Yeah.
This isn't about Pluto, however.
You sure?
Never. I can totally change when I get to the end of all of this. I can totally change my mind and just decide that this is all about Pluto.
It's possible.
Look, Uranus retrograde to me, this is what I told you was going to happen.
Sirius might be playing with our camera light. Oh, this is fun.
All right, so Uranus retrograde to me means that he can begin pushing back against the rigid structures that Taurus has imposed upon him. You notice a back and forth in the financial sectors, the housing market, the employment market. And, and in the creative production of various forms of entertainment, the writer's strike in Hollywood, perhaps, the Screen Actors Guild joining them. You just don't know, do you? It's all because Uranus is in Taurus.
And Uranus has been here since 2018, through the pandemic and beyond. Steady progress has not been seen since then. It feels like fits and starts.
It does feel like fits and starts. Look, it's just another big pull in a long tug of war. Exactly. Institutions lose ground, then gain ground. Uranus would love to blow them up, but he's feeling pampered and cared for in this lovely house of Venus. Until now.
Venus is retrograde and is reformulating what her expectations are. For us, that means we're reassessing what it is that's important to us, what we desire, and what's pleasurable. We all change over time, and Uranus has been at this long enough that these tastes are definitely changing.
That's right, 7 years, right?
Yeah, so they say.
So they say. So, what's it really mean? Taken objectively, alternative ways of earning income can now command our attention.
Cool.
The oppression of the whole apparatus is expressed by Jupiter squares and Saturn oppositions are falling into the waiting hands of the rulers of Scorpio. The last eclipse in Scorpio was a mere foreshadowing. Sure, the Aries-Libra axis is going to assert their hold on things, but not before we really take one last shot at blowing things up.
Kablooey.
Yeah. So, this is what I like to call tempered hyperaggression. That's how I'd like to describe this state. Picture a vision you had 5 months ago. Has it gone quite according to plan? No, it hasn't. That's because we can't control all the variables. We let ourselves down in so many different ways. At the time, hey, it's just another day. I can pick this up later. But when you string them all together,
crap happens, yeah.
Exactly. You string them all together, and we lose weeks of potentially productive time for absolutely no reason at all. I'm not happy with you right now. I'm going to go fret. Oh, let me go over here and sulk.
Ask yourself, would your reason for not doing something make sense 6 months from now? Chances are the answer is no. We can't justify losing time and time and time again.
We just can't justify losing time and time again.
Oh.
We're not losing just time, we're just losing.
Okay.
You're losing time, but time and time again, the lesser impulses, oh my God, I gotta sleep. Oh my God, I don't feel like this. I don't feel good. No, not gonna happen. All right, so look, the urge to stop all this from occurring is the tempered hyper-aggressive state I'm referring to. We gotta get going, right? We don't want to lose time. Venus says we have to make room for pleasure. Oh, threaten me with a good time. We don't want to really blow up our finances or our efforts, but we feel trapped and need to change something. Anything? Taurus is all about a resistance to this kind of change. Mars is opposing Neptune. The Sun is opposing Saturn. Mercury and Venus are both retrograde, and we're left feeling like Veruca Salt.
I want it now!
Exactly. This is where the tempering comes into play.
You mean getting used to the idea of being disappointed?
That's one way of seeing it. I mean, we condition ourselves to get used to an extreme environment before we attempt to tackle it head on, right? If you are silly and you go out in the sun without exposing yourself to the sun gradually,
Right.
heat stroke, okay?
Yeah.
You get stuff like that, right? Listen, we have to be not so kind to ourselves during these training periods. You put yourself in a position to be more and more uncomfortable in order to put ourselves in a position to achieve what is thought to be unachievable. Like people that climb mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just can't decide, I'm going to climb Mount Everest, and you get up and wake up one morning and scamper to the top of Mount Everest and go, ta-da, I did it.
That won't go so well.
No. They'll find you in a crevasse like a little mummified person. Your camera will be sitting there. Look this is like the Man of La Mancha, okay?
To dream the impossible dream.
To dream the impossible dream.
Oh boy, any excuse for show tunes, eh?
fight the unbeatable foe. Okay, so there's a basic need that we all have to keep trying, to strive with his last ounce of courage.
Yeah, man, we might want to stay in the picture.
I don't know. I might be backing off just to get that high note. Okay, so anyway, listen. There's a basic need that we all have to keep trying. Wisdom tells us that we have to realize when we're barking up the wrong tree. You, however, during this time period, are not. Okay? All of the resistance you have felt is tempering you for the big push. We're training for the main event. It is time to push for the stars. Most likely Sirius.
He's such a good boy.
Willie's a
He's
good
turning
boy.
out to be so sweet. They're actually joining us here. Willie's on the floor by the whole camera setup, and Sirius is in the window.
Well, this is always how you know when we're on the right track. All right, so look. It's almost like the series of Uranus squares set the scene. Okay, here's the scene. You're going to feel like you're really pushing for something and you have to break out. But you can't because it's a square and Uranus is in Taurus and is going forward. You want independence, but you can't get it. All right, so now that we have that set, Mars and Uranus was a call to consider what action would and could be taken. We decided that we would have to push outwardly for some form of acclaim. Venus then squared Uranus. How can we push for more good things from Venus? The answer to that was by manifesting more and acting creatively.
Then the sun in his own house was asked to commit to the changes that Venus and Mars need to make happen. We have until January to collect everything that is due Venus.
All right, and which leads us to the nodes. The nodal shift places the emphasis on Venus and Mars. How does that work? An early jump on this 19-month cycle is recommended. Those nodes are going to be in Aries and in Libra. Hence, the rulers of Aries and Libra are Venus and Mars and Venus respectively. Okay? The focus on whether this will form a sextile early on, and that I'm kind of focused on that because Mars and Venus are very close. Venus is retrograde. They had one sextile leading into it. They will form another sextile, and this will be very interesting. Mars will be in the house of Venus as an honored guest. Many consider these nodal points as karmic points in nature.
So karmic as in actual past life stuff?
Yes, that exactly. And look, I'm not here to support or refute those beliefs. It has nothing to do with what we do here on a daily basis, or does it?
Well, truly you just don't know, and that's the beauty of it. Mars and Venus are both involved. It's both beautiful and impatient. A push and pull of individual and joint action at the same time. It's so musical in nature. The music of the spheres.
Okay, well, listen to that. Look at that. This is the first time we've mentioned that, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, listen. Let's talk about some celestial music, shall we? Pythagoras proposed that the planets produce tones that are inaudible here on Earth, but could be figured out mathematically. Math, right?
So cool.
Each planet produced a vibration and was harmonically related to the other planets.
See, if this is math, why didn't they teach us this math in school? This is cool math. It's for real.
All right. So, listen, by vibing along with the planets, we could align our souls with the cosmos.
That's so cool. Makes a lot of sense. I mean, just the sound and energy and all the... Yes.
Look, as late as 1619, Johannes Kepler produced the work Harmonices Mundi, that these bodies produced harmonious sounds through a metaphysical and mathematical means. This is the world of Musica Universalis.
I guess we can talk more about vibrations and frequencies now. And have you seen the things they can hook electrodes up to plants and they make sounds and music and noise and all that? That's so amazing. Okay. I love it.
So, it's interesting to note that both Kepler and Pythagoras didn't separate the spiritual from the scientific. Everything is an expression of the divine.
Darn Skippy. So now we've come to your return point, the point where you went out on a limb and composed some of your best songs. This period 19 years ago when Aries was what?
When Aries was.
When
when Aries was in the same position.
Well, what can we expect from you from this point on, you think?
Listen, at the very moment we were at that Taurus Scorpio nodal axis at 6 degrees, that was when we first met. Okay? It would be long. It would be that long for it to shift into the Libra Aries axis, 5 months minimum. So, from when we first met till the 5 months afterwards is probably when that musical period just had first started. Okay? So, that was very much a new beginning of sorts for me. Or is it the end of a cycle? You just can't expect, I'll tell you what, I think you can't expect more new music out of me, okay? This I'm sure of, especially now that the connection between music and astrology is so beautifully laid out in front of us.
Right?
It's always existed in my mind intuitively, and this just solidifies it. Look, I did want to talk about the moon node cycle since it moves counterclockwise. Aries is the beginning of the zodiac. Doesn't that make it the end of the nodal cycle?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it ends at Aries, then it would pick up in Pisces and then start another cycle because it's counterclockwise.
Yeah.
It's not going with the progression of the zodiac. So,
Oh, interesting. Okay.
listen, I think that means it. And so this is an end stage cycle. This is where we're closing some stuff out. This is where we're bringing everything together. Mine was a complete, lovely rebirth of sorts using music as a networking catalyst.
Yeah, that did work.
And it also brought me you. All right? It was one door closing while yet another opens, and the cycle continues. What felt like a tragic end was merely making space for a grander beginning. Now we have a chance to power through this next cycle.
We're already better off than last time. Yay, progress! And, it isn't about comparing so much as it is kind of using our lives as an astrological yardstick.
Really, this is what wisdom and age will get you over time. Somebody at 20 goes, oh, look, it's moon nodes. What do you know about moon nodes? I've read something or something like that, but have you experienced the full extent of it? If you're 20 years old, no. The chances are not, because you were born and you've gone through your first part of your life and you've gone through that whole formative, or like they call the first 3 signs of the zodiac. Constantly, you're born, you grow up, and you get there, okay? Look, we're going to talk about the moon now. We're going to shift because we're still talking about the moon, but hey, we got a second moon this month, don't we?
We do. It's a blue moon.
It is. The Pisces full moon is on the 30th, and what is known as
Blue moon.
blue moon, blue moon, ooh, 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 since it is the second full moon in August.
This moon in Pisces is great for endings. It's time to wrap up your X, Y, or Z thing. Summer's essentially over. Those summer romances are done. This is time to stick a fork in that stuff. We'll need to get ready to shift into the next phase of useful partnerships.
Libra.
The Venus retrograde stuff is going to wrap up in a few days.
All right, so look, with all the fanfare of Handel's entrance of the Queen of Sheba. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yes.
All right.
I was thinking Canada, dude.
Yeah, you were thinking Canada D,
Yeah.
but it's like, no, it's that wonderful Handel piece.
Yes.
All right, so look, Mars is in detriment. You really think so? Look, Venus cools Mars down and Mars becomes like a conquering hero. The grand parade is just the first step. Here, Mars is relaxed and much less likely to take to the field.
That's one realm you never really fleshed out when you were doing your crazy cat bits in all the realms and the sub-leaders. And
hey, what's to say I won't do it again, right? That may have to be a goal for this week. Who knows?
I'm not going to dare you to do anything. You'll definitely do it.
Okay, so then don't dare me. Hey, there's not too many planetary aspects, and this gives us a nice week to power through some stuff, okay? Look, we're going to be... I'm going to touch on this in a little bit. Okay, next week gets more interesting. In some ways, this week will end... The way this week will end echoes the way the nodes are working, okay? Taurus will feel like the beginning of the cycle once Venus changes directions. So, Carrie, do you have some best days for us?
I do.
What is the best day for love?
That is Friday this week. We have Venus in a fiery trine with the moon just after 5 a.m. Might want to make it an early morning and get a jump on things that require energy.
All right. And what's the best day for beeswax?
Best day for business. It's actually Sunday, oddly enough. It's a great day to utilize a balanced approach. The side hustle is front and center of our thoughts. Just be mindful of headaches.
Okay.
Chiron thing going on there.
Yeah, kind of, sort of, right? Hey, what's the best day for health?
Best day for health is going to be Tuesday. Do something interesting and energetic like laser tag or paintball after supper. Maybe just tool around with some new song ideas. Long as you're moving.
And the best day for transformation.
That'll be Thursday. Looks like a good day to get some creative ideas. Oh, creative ideas of service out there for financial consideration. Okay, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's a day to believe and not ask questions.
Believe. Yes, believe. Okay, hey, look, get ready to have a bit of fun, okay? Uranus flips retrograde, and now it is time to really begin disrupting the financial system.
Ooh.
It's going to feel slightly messianic, but since when are the crypto shills ever not sounding like that?
The moon in Pisces gives us all a chance to be more creative. This is what is being demanded of us at the moment. Dare to put that pen to paper, or whatever it is that you do, whatever
right.
your artistic medium is.
Paint the slop the paint on. All
Yeah,
right.
slap that on.
Yeah, all right. So, hey, thank you all for joining us. We get to do this all together. Please share this, like, follow, hit the bell for notifications, draw little smiley faces. I don't care.
Show us some love, guys. Talk to us. We want to know how your week is going. Hope you worked your magic. Feed us some feedback. Remember, it's daily-astrocat.com by Stella on Facebook and all sorts of podcast places wherever you get your podcast.
All right, look it. This week is going to have quite a different feeling from the week before. Uranus retrograde has no expectations and no structure.
Whoa.
I'm okay with that. Freedom is, after all, the number one use that I have for money.
Eventually, we'll all have to make decisions surrounding our Venus values. Mars will be in a place where he'll feel what it is that Venus desires. As Virgo wanes and Scorpio comes into view, who knows what kind of power Mars or Venus will be craving?
Okay, look, be careful, however. Mercury is still retrograde, and boy, is it ever. Look, this Virgo season has been quite the ride.
It's been trying.
Okay? It's the nervous energies coming up, and it's affecting people's health, and it's
been up,
affecting
yeah.
other things.
Yeah, Pisces full moon's been a doozy.
And we, because this stuff is written a week ahead of time, we really didn't get a chance to, really visit what transpired this last week or what we're trying to do. And it actually comes out clearer in next week because we've actually taken actions this week towards the end of it to try to correct some of these things. Now,
But yeah, we had like repairs that needed repeated 3 or 4 times.
we've had people that are actual Virgos that are getting ill physically because of the nervousness and the unsettled nature of what things are happening. And I mean, if anybody works in a customer service capacity or anything like that, you will definitely be able to relate to how people are just freaking out. And it's not, freaking out in a good way either. Look, what we're doing is we're actually going to just stay tuned, pay attention, and we are actually posted some of next week, and hopefully we'll get this video out for next week out ahead of time so you can really get up to speed with what we're doing and how we're trying to counteract this. It has to do with intentions, it has to do with the vibrations, and it has to do with trying to manipulate those vibrations through some crystal intentions, okay? Now, hopefully you haven't been burned by your prior commitments, okay? Mercury is still retrograde.
Sure is. Now go and find something we did that you like and share it. Please.
All right, so that's all we got for you. Have a happy Astro Week.
Happy Astrocatting.
Didn't work because it's a new camera.
Definitely.